The unexpected message. It was an ordinary day on Earth when something extraordinary happened. The Galactic Council, a powerful group of alien races who ruled over most of the galaxy, had always considered Earth insignificant. The human race had been developing slowly, their technology primitive compared to the advanced civilizations that controlled the stars. Humans had long been watched by the galactic powers, but they were considered no threat. Just a small, isolated world at the edge of the galaxy. But all of that changed when the Galactic Council received an unexpected message. It was early in the morning when the Council's massive warship, the Vanguard, intercepted the signal. It was a quiet, simple transmission that seemed to come from Earth itself. The signal had been coded in an ancient human language, one that the Galactic Council's translators could barely decipher. At first, it seemed like a routine communication, maybe a distress signal or a plea for help. But as the message continued, something unusual caught the attention of the Council's top officers. The message was short, but its words were chilling. "We are not helpless. We are coming." The Council's officials gathered around their consoles, stunned. The message had been sent directly to the heart of their empire, but who could have sent it? How did humans, a species that had barely reached the stars, manage to send a message like this? The message was strange, powerful, and most importantly, it seemed to be a warning. "What is this?" The council leader, Grand Sovereign Zorith, demanded as he watched the transmission. The other high-ranking officers were silent, equally confused. "Are they threatening us?" one officer asked nervously. Another officer, a sharp-minded strategist, quickly began analyzing the signal. "It's not a threat," he said, his voice trembling. "It's a promise. Whoever sent this, they mean business." The Council's immediate response was to ignore the message. After all, they believed that humans were too weak, too unorganized, to pose any real danger. This message was nothing more than a misunderstanding, a desperate cry from a species that had no idea what they were up against. Still, there was a sense of unease in the air. Could the humans really be that bold? Could they be capable of such defiance? The signal had been sent from Earth, but the coordinates seemed to be encrypted, hidden in layers of code. It was clear that the humans had done something more than just send a message. They were hiding something. The Council's leaders realized that they would have to investigate. If the humans were preparing for something, they needed to know what. Grand Sovereign Zorith ordered his fleet to prepare for a full investigation of Earth's transmission. "Send scouts to Earth immediately," he commanded. "We will find out what this is, and we will silence it. No one threatens the Galactic Council." But as the fleet prepared, something even stranger occurred. The signal began to repeat itself, again and again, with a slight change each time. This time, the message was clearer. "We are not your slaves. We will fight back. Prepare yourself." The warning was becoming more and more direct, but the Council still refused to take it seriously. They continued to believe that Earth was nothing more than a small backward planet that could never challenge the power of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. But there were a few among the Council who weren't so sure. Commander Thrax, a battle-hardened officer who had seen countless wars across the galaxy, was one of the first to express concern. He knew that Earth was different from other planets they had conquered. "Something's not right," he muttered under his breath. "We've underestimated them before. We may be making the same mistake again." The officers around him scoffed, dismissing his worries. "What can they possibly do?" One said. "They don't even have space travel that rivals ours. This is nothing more than a nuisance." But Commander Thrax couldn't shake the feeling that the humans were preparing something huge. He had been around long enough to recognize the signs of a battle that was being quietly prepared in the shadows. The humans were clever, and if they had figured out how to hide their advancements, they might have weapons that could turn the tide of this entire galaxy. Meanwhile, on Earth, the message was starting to spread across the planet. At first, most humans didn't understand its significance. People went about their day-to-day lives, unaware that the Galactic Council had received their warning. But as the message continued to be broadcast, some scientists began to realize the importance of what had just happened. They had seen the unusual energy patterns, the odd frequency, and they knew that this wasn't just an ordinary message. Something bigger was happening. On the surface, life continued on Earth as it always had. People went to work, attended school, and lived their ordinary lives. But in secret, in hidden labs across the world, humanity's brightest minds were working on something far beyond their wildest dreams. Something that, if the Galactic Council knew about it, would make them realize just how wrong they were about Earth. The Council didn't know it yet, but the humans had already begun building something. Something they could never have imagined. Earth wasn't as defenseless as they believed. And with each passing day, the humans were getting closer to revealing their true power. The message was just the beginning, and the Galactic Council was about to learn that the humans of Earth would not be ignored. As the transmission continued to pulse across the stars, one thing was certain. Earth had awakened, and no one knew what that meant for the galaxy. The Galactic Council would soon find out, and when they did, they would be left stunned, unable to comprehend the force they had just provoked. The hidden power. The Galactic Council was not used to being challenged. For millennia, they had ruled over countless worlds, extinguishing rebellions before they ever had a chance to begin. Each race under their dominion had obeyed their commands without question. But Earth was different. Earth was unlike anything the Council had ever encountered. When the Council received the strange transmission from Earth, they brushed it off as a fluke, a mere glitch in the system. But the repeated messages began to stir something in the deepest corners of the Council's leadership. Whispers spread among the officers of the Vanguard, their flagship, and the words of Commander Thrax became more significant with each passing hour. "It's not a warning. It's a declaration," Thrax muttered to himself as he walked through the hallways of the warship. He had seen enough in his life to know when a battle was brewing, and everything about this felt like one. The humans had sent their message, loud and clear. But it wasn't just the message that bothered him. It was the hidden potential of Earth. The Grand Sovereign, Zoreth, had always dismissed Thrax's concerns, but now he couldn't ignore them. Earth was still a primitive world in the eyes of the Council, with technology far behind the other races. Yet this message, this declaration of defiance, it was something different. Zoreth's pride wouldn't allow him to admit it, but deep down, he had begun to question whether Earth had something more, something the Council had overlooked. And the time for investigation had arrived. The Vanguard was the largest warship in the fleet, capable of taking down entire star systems with its weapons. Zoreth knew that sending an entire fleet to Earth could be an overreaction. Instead, he ordered a single ship, the Black Star, to make the journey. The Black Star was faster, stealthier, and more adaptable for reconnaissance. It would get in and out without being detected, gathering the information they needed before launching a full-scale assault. As the Black Star made its way toward Earth, Thrax couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. He wasn't convinced the humans were completely helpless. But even so, the rest of the Council was sure they could handle anything the planet threw their way. "It's just a message, just a warning," they said. "Nothing to fear." Thrax stared out of the observation window, watching the stars blur past. He had been on hundreds of missions throughout his career, but there was something about Earth that felt different. He couldn't quite explain it, but he felt it deep in his bones. The humans, for all their simplicity, were capable of more than the Council realized. Back on Earth, the situation was far from simple. The world's leaders had been completely blindsided by the transmission. Most had no idea how the Galactic Council had even detected their message, and even fewer understood its full implications. The general public was still unaware that the Council had received the warning at all. But those in the know, the military, the scientists, were preparing for the worst. In secret, deep underground bunkers, the brightest human minds worked tirelessly. They had received whispers of alien technology, scraps of data, and fragments of intelligence from the stars that had been carefully hidden away for decades. No one knew exactly where it had come from, but some believed that Earth's ancient civilizations had once made contact with visitors from the stars long ago. Could this be the key to humanity's survival? In isolated labs across the world, human scientists had been studying technology that was far beyond anything the Galactic Council had ever dreamed of. For years, these technologies had been kept hidden from the eyes of the Council, hidden from the world. But now, the time had come to reveal what humanity had been building. The transmission was only the beginning. Earth had more to offer than just a warning. It had the power to stand toe-to-toe with the greatest empires in the galaxy. One lab, located deep in the heart of a vast mountain range, contained the most advanced technology ever created by human hands. It was a secret, an experiment in weaponry that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Scientists had perfected it, but they were unsure of its full potential. However, they knew one thing. If they were going to survive, they needed to act quickly. Meanwhile, across the stars, the Black Star was nearing Earth. Its sleek, black hull blended into the void of space, invisible to most scans. The ship's mission was clear: arrive at Earth, gather intel, and report back to the Council. But even as it approached, the crew aboard the ship sensed something strange. They could feel the atmosphere of Earth. It felt different. There was a force, a presence, a strange energy surrounding the planet. As the Black Star moved closer, the crew's unease grew. There was something wrong, something they couldn't put their fingers on. "Prepare for entry into Earth's atmosphere," the captain ordered, his voice steady, but his eyes betraying his nervousness. "We'll know the truth soon enough." As the ship descended into Earth's atmosphere, the crew prepared for the unknown. They had expected to find a world of confusion, panic, and primitive technology. Instead, they would uncover a shocking truth. Earth had been hiding something so powerful it could reshape the galaxy. And Earth's message to the Galactic Council, "We are not helpless. We are coming," was just the beginning. The Black Star would soon learn that the true power of Earth was not in its weapons or its armies, but in its very will to survive. It was a power that the Galactic Council had underestimated, and one that would soon be the catalyst for the greatest conflict the galaxy had ever seen. The first encounter. As the Black Star descended into Earth's atmosphere, the crew braced themselves for what they would find. The Earth that had once appeared so primitive, so insignificant, was now a mystery, a world with hidden strengths that no one had anticipated. The Galactic Council had no idea just how much power Earth was capable of hiding, and soon the truth would come to light. The captain of the Black Star, Captain Viller, couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He had led his crew through countless missions, but Earth felt different. The energy surrounding it, the presence that seemed to hang in the air, was unlike anything he had ever encountered. As the ship pierced through the clouds, he looked down at the vast oceans and the sprawling continents below, each of them now hiding secrets that could bring down an empire. "Prepare for landing," Captain Viller commanded, his voice calm but laced with a trace of unease. "We need to gather intelligence quickly. We don't have much time." The ship slowly descended toward the ground, cloaked from view. It wasn't just the Black Star's stealth technology that made it invisible. Earth's atmosphere itself seemed to distort the scanners, making detection nearly impossible. The ship's engines hummed quietly, but the tension in the air was palpable. No one could predict what would happen next. As they approached their landing zone, Veller's eyes darted over the screens, monitoring every detail. The world below appeared serene. Towering skyscrapers, vast stretches of forests, and glistening bodies of water were all visible from their high vantage point. To anyone else, it would look like a peaceful, thriving world. But Veller knew better. He knew that there was something hidden beneath the surface. The Black Star touched down in a secluded, heavily forested area, far away from any major human settlement. The landing was smooth, but the atmosphere felt thick with anticipation. The crew moved quickly, donning their suits and preparing to leave the ship. As they stepped onto Earth's soil, they couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of awe. The planet seemed so simple, yet so full of mystery. "Keep your eyes open," Captain Villar warned his crew. "We're here to observe, not to engage. We need information, not confrontation." The crew spread out, scanning the environment for any signs of human activity. They were cautious, alert to every movement in the dense trees and tall grass. They had learned long ago to respect the unknown, but Earth's silence only made them more wary. It was as if the planet itself was holding its breath, waiting for them to make the first move. Minutes passed, and then hours. The crew found no immediate signs of danger. There were no military patrols, no human forces approaching. The world seemed almost untouched, but the longer they stayed, the more it became clear that something was wrong. It was too quiet. Suddenly, without warning, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. A low hum filled the air, almost imperceptible at first, but growing louder with each passing second. It was not an earthquake. This tremor felt different. It wasn't a natural phenomenon. It was something artificial. "Get back to the ship. Now," Captain Villar ordered, his voice urgent. The crew began running, but it was too late. A blinding flash of light erupted from the trees ahead, and the ground seemed to open up beneath them. Before anyone could react, massive steel walls rose from the earth, surrounding them in an instant. The air was filled with the sound of machinery coming to life, and the crew was trapped. Captain Villar shouted orders, but his words were drowned out by the rising noise of the hidden structure. It was like the planet itself had awakened. The black star's cloaking field flickered, momentarily revealing its position to anyone nearby. The hidden force on Earth had activated something far beyond what the Council had expected. "What is this?" one of the crew members asked, his voice shaky with disbelief. This wasn't in any of the scans. How could they have built something like this? Captain Villar's mind raced as he looked at the structures rising around them. It wasn't just a base. It was a fortress, an ancient one, built long before the Council's reign. The power radiating from it was palpable, and Villar realized with a jolt that Earth had not only been hiding its strength, it had been waiting. "Prepare yourselves," Villar said, his voice steady despite the situation. "This is no accident. Someone, or something, knew we were coming." As the walls of the hidden city continued to rise, the crew began to feel a shift in the air, an energy that seemed to draw them in. There was something ancient about this place, something that could rival the power of the Galactic Council itself. The humans, it seemed, had more than just primitive weapons at their disposal. They had secrets, and the Black Star was about to discover just how dangerous Earth could be. Then, a voice came over the ship's communication system, a voice from the past, one that no one had expected to hear. "This is Earth," the voice said, calm and commanding. "You've trespassed on our land. Leave now or face the consequences." The message was clear. Earth wasn't scared. Earth wasn't helpless. And Earth was ready for war. The rising power. The Black Star shook as the hidden structure on Earth powered up, and the crew felt a chill run through them. They were no longer in control of the situation. The ground beneath their feet hummed with energy, and the walls around them glowed with an unnatural, almost otherworldly light. It was as though the planet itself had awoken, stirring from a long, slumbering rest. Captain Villar stood at the helm of the Black Star as the message echoed in his mind. "This is Earth. You've trespassed on our land. Leave now or face the consequences." The voice was calm, devoid of fear, yet filled with an underlying warning that sent a shiver down Villar's spine. The humans weren't the weak, helpless species they had assumed. They had been hiding something, a hidden strength far beyond anything the Council had expected. "Captain," a voice crackled over the communications panel. It was Lieutenant Kira, one of the officers who had been monitoring Earth's signals. "The structure is not just a base, it's an energy hub. It's emitting a power signature unlike anything we've seen before. This isn't just technology. This is ancient, alien tech, hidden beneath the surface of Earth. Wheeler turned toward the lieutenant, his eyes narrowing. He had heard of such artifacts, ancient technologies from forgotten civilizations, hidden away to protect them from the galaxy's predators. But he never imagined Earth could have such an advantage. The humans were not just primitive, they had been holding something back. How far do you think they've developed it? Wheeler asked, his voice sharp. Not sure, sir, Kira replied. But whatever it is, it's powerful. Our sensors are having trouble scanning it properly. It's almost as if they don't want us to know everything. Wheeler's mind raced. This was more than just a warning. It was a challenge. The Galactic Council was not used to being challenged, especially by a species they considered inferior. But Earth was proving to be different. The Black Star's cloaking devices had failed, and now they were exposed. Wheeler knew that every moment they stayed here, the humans could be gathering more intelligence on them. What's our next move? Kira asked, as a wave of tension filled the air. Wheeler's mind was made up. We stay here. We need to learn everything we can about this technology. Earth is not what we thought it was. We'll take samples, gather data, and report back to the Council. But we do not engage unless we have no other choice. The humans may be hiding weapons, but we don't know their full capabilities yet. Back on Earth, the humans were preparing for a confrontation they hadn't wanted, but were now fully expecting. The Earth Defense Forces, under the leadership of General Harlan, had been monitoring the situation closely. The discovery of the Black Star had confirmed their worst fears. The Galactic Council had noticed Earth, and they were coming. But General Harlan knew one thing for sure. Humanity wasn't going down without a fight. In the heart of a highly classified military base in the Rocky Mountains, the top scientists and engineers worked around the clock to develop new countermeasures against the alien threat. For years, Earth had been quietly building its defenses, and now those efforts were about to pay off. But it wasn't just weaponry they had been developing. It was something far more powerful, the knowledge of the ancient civilization buried beneath their feet. General Harlan sat in a high-tech command center, eyes fixed on the screens in front of him. The holographic images of the Black Star flickered, showing its position above Earth. A tactical map of the planet spread across the table, with military units already preparing for potential strikes. But Harlan knew that the human forces alone wouldn't be enough. They needed something more. Is it ready? Harlan asked, his voice low but filled with determination. One of the lead scientists, Dr. Lillian Carter, stepped forward. Her face was tense, her eyes burning with a quiet intensity. We've activated the power core. The energy signature is stable, and we've sensed it with the ancient tech we found buried deep underwater. But it's far beyond anything we anticipated. Harlan nodded grimly. It has to be. We need to show them we're not afraid. The Black Star is just the first of many ships the Council will send. We have to make them think twice. The general's fingers moved over the controls, bringing up images of the underwater city where the ancient technology had been hidden for centuries. It was only when the humans began to understand its true potential that they realized just how powerful it could be. We're not just defending our world, Dr. Carter said, her voice steady. We're challenging an empire. And if we succeed, the galaxy will never see us the same way again. The room fell silent as the weight of her words settled in. The humans weren't just preparing for war, they were preparing to reshape the future. The Galactic Council had thought Earth was a small, insignificant world, but they were wrong. Back in space, the Black Star had completed its scans, and Captain Veller stood before his crew, staring at the data they had gathered. The results were unlike anything they had expected. Earth had been hiding a deep well of power that could rival the greatest forces in the galaxy. This isn't just a planet with primitive technology, Veller muttered. This is a world that's been preparing for something we didn't see coming. As the Black Star continued its orbit around Earth, the crew braced themselves. They knew the humans were capable of far more than they had assumed, and the galaxy was about to witness the rise of a power that could shake the very foundations of the Galactic Council. The question now wasn't if Earth could defend itself. It was how much Earth was willing to fight for its freedom. The Galactic Council had underestimated the humans, and that would be their biggest mistake: the hidden weapon. The tension in the Black Star's command room was palpable. Captain Veller stood at the center, the holographic projections of Earth flickering in front of him. His thoughts were consumed with the information they had gathered. The humans were more dangerous than anyone had predicted. The ancient technology buried beneath Earth's oceans wasn't just an artifact. It was a weapon powerful enough to threaten the entire galaxy. He turned to his lieutenant, Kira, who was seated at the communication station. "Send a message to the Council. They need to know the situation has escalated. Earth is not the primitive planet they assumed." Kira hesitated for a moment, her fingers hovering over the console. "Captain, I'm not sure the Council will listen. They've always seen Earth as insignificant. If they don't believe us, they might escalate the situation even further." Veller clenched his fists, his frustration boiling over. "Then they'll learn the hard way. We need to prepare for a counterstrike. If Earth is ready to defend itself, we need to be ready to face the consequences." The crew remained silent, exchanging uneasy glances. The situation had become far more complex than they had ever imagined. The Council was powerful, but the humans had something they had never seen before, something they couldn't fully understand. Meanwhile, on Earth, General Harlan was finalizing the preparations for a defensive operation that would change the course of history. The hidden power beneath the oceans was no longer a secret. With the help of the ancient technology, humanity had unlocked a new form of energy, one that could rival the most advanced alien civilizations. Dr. Lillian Carter stood beside the general, her expression grave. "We've synchronized the ancient power core with our current technology. It's functioning beyond expectations, but we need to be careful. The energy output is unstable. If we push it too far, we could lose control." Harlan nodded. "Understood, but we don't have the luxury of time. The Black Star is only the beginning. The Council won't stop until they've taken what they want." As the last pieces of the plan came together, a sense of urgency filled the air. The stakes were higher than ever before. Earth had not only discovered the power of the ancient cities, but had also unlocked the key to survival. However, it was a double-edged sword, one that could bring them salvation or doom them forever. The humans were preparing for war, but they were also preparing for something far greater: an uprising. With the newfound power of the ancient cities at their disposal, they could challenge the Galactic Council on their own terms. This wasn't just a fight for Earth's survival. It was a fight for freedom. Captain Veller stared at the planet below, the dark expanse of space surrounding him. He had never imagined that a small, seemingly insignificant planet could possess such power. The humans had been underestimated, and now it was too late to turn back. "We're going to need more than just our weapons to win this," Veller muttered to himself, his thoughts turning to the next phase of the operation. "We need a strategy that's as unpredictable as they are." Back on Earth, the humans were readying their forces. The newly discovered power, combined with their advanced military technology, gave them an edge they had never had before. They were not just defending their world anymore. They were striking back. Dr. Carter's eyes were focused on the monitor, watching as the first wave of energy blasts powered up from the ancient structures hidden beneath the ocean. "It's working," she said quietly, her voice filled with awe. "We've awakened the full potential of the weapon." General Harlan's voice was steady, but there was a fire in his eyes. "Then let's show them what Earth can do." Across the globe, military forces began to mobilize. Satellites were launched, weapons systems activated, and every nation prepared for the inevitable conflict. Humanity was no longer a passive participant in the galaxy. They were now players in the game, and they were about to make their mark. Meanwhile, on the Black Star, Captain Veller prepared to make contact with the Council again. But this time, His message would be different. They could no longer afford to ignore Earth's capabilities. "Prepare the message," Veller said to Kira. "It's time the Council learned who they're dealing with." As the communication system powered up, Veller's thoughts returned to the growing power of Earth. The humans had surprised them all. But the question remained, could they withstand the full might of the Galactic Council, or would they fall under the weight of their own defiance? Back on Earth, General Harlan had just received news of the final preparations. Everything was in place. The time had come to face the Galactic Council head-on. The humans were ready to show the universe that Earth was not a planet to be conquered. It was a planet to be reckoned with. As the final countdown began, both sides prepared for the conflict that would determine the fate of Earth. The future of the galaxy hung in the balance, and no one could predict what would happen next. The black star hovered over Earth, watching, waiting, and preparing for the storm that was about to hit. But one thing was clear: Earth was no longer just a pawn in the Galactic Council's game. They had found their strength, and they were ready to strike back. The hidden weapon had been unleashed, and with it the humans were about to send a message that would echo through the galaxy for generations to come. The battle begins. The dark, vast emptiness of space stood in stark contrast to the intensity brewing on Earth. Captain Veller stood alone in the command center of the Black Star, his mind racing with uncertainty. The Galactic Council had underestimated Earth, and now the tiny planet was on the brink of something that could reshape the entire galaxy. They had just received Earth's declaration of defiance, and Veller knew the time for negotiations had passed. The time for war was upon them. "Captain, we've intercepted their communications." Lieutenant Kira's voice interrupted his thoughts. "Earth has just launched its first wave of offensive. It's like nothing we've ever seen." Veller turned, eyes narrowing as Kira continued. "The ancient weapon beneath their oceans has activated. The energy signatures are off the charts. This is more than just advanced weaponry, Captain. This is a game changer." A shiver ran down Veller's spine. He had assumed Earth's military was primitive, easily crushed under the might of the Galactic Council. But what they had discovered, the power that Earth had unlocked from its lost underwater cities, was unlike anything they had ever imagined. "Prepare the fleet," Veller said, his voice steady, but his mind racing. "We can't let them strike first. This is bigger than anything we faced before. Contact the Council. We need reinforcements." But as the communication lines were established with the Council, a sudden, chilling realization struck Veller. He had only just received the transmission from Earth, and already they were mobilizing. There was no turning back now. The Council would never accept such defiance, and yet Veller couldn't help but wonder, had they truly misjudged Earth all along? On Earth, General Harlan stood at the forefront of humanity's largest military operation. The shockwaves of their initial attack had already rippled through space, sending a warning to the Galactic Council. And yet, despite the incredible power of the ancient weapon, Harlan knew they could not afford to rest on their laurels. Earth was a small planet in a galaxy full of powerful beings. If the Council came for them, they would need everything they had to survive. "We've activated the first layer of the weapon," Dr. Carter said, her voice filled with equal parts awe and concern. "The energy flow is stable for now, but there's a risk. If we push too hard, we could trigger a meltdown." Harlan nodded, looking out over the vast array of soldiers and military assets gathering outside. He could feel the weight of the situation. This was it, the moment when Earth would either stand or fall. They had to show the galaxy that Earth wasn't just another conquest. They weren't some easy target. Earth had its own power now. "We won't go down without a fight," Harlan muttered. "Prepare the fleet. We've done everything we can to prepare, but if the Council pushes back, we need to be ready for anything." As the countdown continued, the sound of engines firing up filled the air. Earth's entire military apparatus was now on high alert, ready to face what was coming. Tanks, ships, and even fighter jets armed with alien technology were all poised for the battle ahead. The war was no longer just a possibility. It was imminent, and as the clock ticked down, both sides prepared to face one another in the unknown expanse of space. Back on the Black Star, Velar clenched his fists. The first attack from Earth had hit them with a power that made him question everything he thought he knew. But the Council would not tolerate such a challenge. The fate of the galaxy was too important, and Earth's defiance would not go unanswered. As his fingers hovered over the controls, preparing for the counterstrike, Velar's mind flickered to the thought of the vast coalition he commanded. It would take everything they had to take down Earth. The Galactic Council had long been the ruling power in the galaxy, and Earth's sudden rise to prominence could not be allowed to continue. "We move at once," he ordered. "Prepare for battle. If they think they can face the Council and survive, they are gravely mistaken." Velar's voice was full of conviction, but inside there was a gnawing doubt. Could they really defeat Earth? The humans had something they hadn't counted on: resilience. The desire to survive and protect their world was stronger than Velar had ever anticipated. The next few hours would determine everything. Across the vast distance of space, Earth's forces were ready. The battle that was about to unfold would change the fate of the galaxy. Would Earth fall to the might of the Galactic Council, or would they prove themselves as the galaxy's newest and most fearsome power? The first wave of ships launched into space, moving with precision and speed. Every human on Earth knew what was at stake. This wasn't just a war. It was humanity's chance to claim their place in the galaxy. Their strength had come from a lost history, one that they had rediscovered. Now, they would fight to keep it. As the battle loomed closer, Velar's final order echoed through the ship. "We don't stop until Earth is subdued. Prepare for everything." The war had begun, and neither side knew what the future would hold. The final confrontation. The first shots had been fired, and the clash between Earth and the Galactic Council was no longer just a theory. It was a brutal, reality-defining war. Captain Velar stood at the helm of the Black Star, his hands gripping the controls as the massive ship veered through space, readying itself for the final showdown. The vast fleet of the Galactic Council loomed just behind him, a force so powerful that it could wipe out entire civilizations. Yet there was a nagging feeling in his gut. Earth had already shown that it was not the easy target everyone had expected. "Captain, we've detected a massive surge in energy from Earth," Kira reported urgently. Her voice was laced with disbelief. "The ancient weapon. They've powered it up to full capacity. We've never seen anything like it." Velar clenched his jaw. Earth's hidden weapon, once thought to be a myth, was now a reality, and it was terrifying. Humanity had unlocked the long-lost technologies buried beneath the oceans, and they had learned to wield them with astonishing precision. The entire galaxy had underestimated the strength of Earth's will, but now it was too late to turn back. "Their forces are moving faster than we expected," Velar murmured, his mind racing. "It seems they have more than just one weapon. Their whole planet is a fortress now." As the communication systems buzzed, the voice of the Galactic Council rang through, distant but filled with authority. "Captain Velar, we've received reports from the front lines," the voice said, calm yet firm. "Earth's defenses are stronger than anticipated. This must be dealt with swiftly. We cannot allow such defiance to persist." Velar's eyes narrowed. "Understood, Council, but be prepared for a much tougher fight than you anticipated." Meanwhile, back on Earth, General Harlan stood at the forefront of humanity's defense efforts, eyes fixed on the monitor as the energy surges from the ancient weapon began to ramp up. The Earth had become a planet of fury and resilience, ready to do whatever it took to protect its newfound power. The Galactic Council thought they could control the galaxy with their might, but Earth was no longer just a bystander in that grand scheme. "We can't afford to waste time," General Harlan said, his voice steady yet filled with a fire that only a planet on the brink of extinction could possess. "We've unlocked a power beyond our comprehension, but we still don't know the full extent of its potential. If we're going to win this, we need to push everything we've got." Dr. Carter stood beside him, her eyes glued to the readouts from the ancient energy core. The weapon is almost at maximum capacity. If we unleash it now, there's no turning back. We'll be sending a message to the galaxy that will echo forever. Harlan nodded, understanding the weight of the decision. He wasn't just fighting for Earth's survival. He was fighting for humanity's place in the galaxy, for their right to determine their own fate. Then let's make sure the Council hears that message loud and clear. The final preparations were set in motion. On Earth's surface, military forces were lined up, prepared to defend every inch of their world. The skies were filled with ships that carried both Earth's military and the mysterious power of the ancient technology. The humans were no longer a passive species. They were active participants in a galactic struggle for dominance. Back in space, Veller's fleet hovered ominously near the Earth, watching as the energy signatures from the planet's surface began to grow exponentially. The force they had unlocked was no longer just a theoretical threat. It was a reality. He could feel the tension in the air, the growing anticipation of the conflict that would soon take place. There was no turning back now. "Captain, Earth is deploying more weapons," Kira called out. "Their ships are moving into position. They're preparing for a direct confrontation." Veller didn't flinch. He knew the humans had nothing to lose. They would fight until their last breath. "Prepare to engage," Veller ordered, his voice grim but resolute. "We finish this now." The first blast of energy struck the Black Star, shaking the massive ship to its core. The force was immense, and the Black Star rocked from the shockwaves. But the shields held. Yet, Veller knew it was only a matter of time before Earth's new weapons would breach the defenses. "Their weapon is unlike anything we've ever seen," Kira said, her voice filled with awe and fear. "We've lost 2 cruisers already. Captain, we need to reconsider our strategy." But Veller didn't want to retreat. Not now. The fate of the galaxy was on the line. "We cannot back down," Veller said, his determination unshakable. "This battle will decide everything. Earth's power may be great, but they still underestimate the might of the Galactic Council." As the battle raged on, it became clear that Earth's ancient weapon was not only surviving the attacks, it was thriving. The energy surges were so powerful that they began to destabilize the entire region of space where the battle was being fought. There was something about the weapon that seemed to draw energy from the very fabric of space itself. Veller could sense it. The humans had unlocked something far greater than anyone had anticipated. General Harlan watched as the first wave of enemy ships began to falter. Their shields were weakening, their systems crashing under the pressure of Earth's weapon. Humanity had turned the tables on the Galactic Council, but Harlan knew this battle was far from over. "Keep pushing," Harlan yelled over the comms. "We've got them on the ropes, but we need to finish this." Earth's weapon surged one final time, and with it came a surge of energy so massive that it sent shockwaves through the space around them. The Black Star and the rest of the Galactic Council's fleet began to falter under the pressure. Captain Veller knew they were in danger of losing everything. But as the humans pressed forward, Captain Veller had a fleeting moment of realization. The battle, the war, it wasn't just about weapons or technology. It was about determination, survival, and the will to fight for one's place in the universe. And at that moment, he knew Earth had earned its place in the galaxy.